Hello guys, welcome back to another video of mine. This is your match review for Newcastle 0, Chelsea 2 in the Premier League on Saturday. I do apologise for the late review. I was in work all weekend and as I was finishing late, I just did not have time nor the energy to get the video out either yesterday or on the eve of the game. So I do apologise for that, but hopefully we can enjoy it today as much as we would have done on the Saturday or the Sunday. But getting into the game now, as I mentioned, we won 2-0, which is great because, as I mentioned in the preview, we have such a bad record at St James's Park that no matter how well we're playing or no matter how bad Newcastle are playing or vice versa, we just never seem to win there. But we managed to get the win there this weekend, and in doing so, we actually played very, very well, I thought, for, large parts of that game. We just completely dominated, having like 80% possession, chance after chance. It should have been about 5 or 6-0. Which is disappointing, and I will mention that later on in the video about our inability to take chances and just our lack of killer instinct. But I don't want to take away from the fact that it was a very, very good win, and I think the manner and the way we took control of the game and created those chances is very, very positive, and will put us in good stead for the games that are to come for the rest of the season. So getting into the starting 11 now, I think it was almost the exact same team that I predicted in the preview. So in goal was Edouard Mendy, defence of Reece James at right back, Ben Chilwell at left back, and the two centre backs were Kurt Zouma and Antonio Rudiger. Into the midfield three, N'Golo Kante is the deep lying midfielder. The two midfielders alongside him were Mason Mount and Mateo Kovacic, and then the front three was Werner on the left, Ziyech on the right, and Tammy Abraham up front. So it was the team I wanted to see, and I was delighted about that. And everyone played well. We played so well. The defence, I'm going to be honest about the defence. They had nothing to do, nor did Mendy in goal. I think all five of them could have easily got a chair out, read the newspaper with a cup of tea, and still would have been just as busy. Although we did play very, very well, Newcastle were shocking in terms of offering anything, being positive, being creative. They were just void of anything, and I think our defence and Mendy in goal are not going to get many games as easy as that, because I understand that Newcastle are they don't have the players that we have, but as a football team you really, really should try and be as positive, and no matter who you're playing, at least attempt to try and create chances and try and score goals. Newcastle did nothing, and it was the first time I think I've ever watched a Chelsea game away at Newcastle and been so comfortable. When it was 1-0, no matter who you're playing, the longer it stays at 1-0, the more nervous you do get. But even at 1-0 and the amount of chances we were missing, I still wasn't nervous because Newcastle offered absolutely nothing. The second half they were a bit more, attacking and, were a bit more creative, but even still, they never really threatened. I think the closest they got was when Sean Longstaff, smashed the bar with it. It was a good strike, but at that point, but at that stage, the game was 2-0 and it was done. So it would have been purely a consolation. So I was very, very, not disappointed, surprised about how little Newcastle, tried to take the game to us. Now, I knew going into the game that we were going to control the game and that we were going to be, heavily on the ball and creating the more chances, but I didn't think Newcastle would offer as little as they did. So that was, surprising. But what I wanted to talk about, I don't really want to talk about the game too much because, for those of you who watched it, Chelsea fan, non-Chelsea fan, Newcastle fan even, it was a very comfortable game for us. Dominated possession, had so many chances. Timo Werner will be kicking himself after that game, and I hope he is, frustrated in a good way, because, he could have easily had a hat-trick if he'd put his chances away, which I'm just going to talk about now. The fact that we did, pass up so many opportunities. It's great that we won the game 2-0, but, on another day, against better opposition, if we get that many chances and don't take them like we did on Saturday, against the better team we will get punished. So we really need to iron out those mistakes in terms of when we get chances as big as we did at the weekend, we need to put them away, because, as I mentioned, against tougher opposition and against, better players, we won't get that many chances. So we really, really need to be more clinical, and hopefully we work on that in training and can, be that bit more clinical. But getting into, everything that's happened, and just talking about this season in general. Obviously, we're seeing improvements. I think that's great to see. The people will know that when the season started, I was, when we were drawn against the likes of West Brom and Southampton and scraping past the likes of, Brighton and everyone, I was a bit anxious and a bit worried that, with all these new signings and with Frank Lampard having that time, that we weren't seeing, the performances and the results that we, expect. But I will put that down to, the team needing time to gel together, no pre-season as well, so I understand it's difficult. And I was getting a bit, frustrated. Maybe, I was being too reactionary and saying stuff that, maybe if I was saying it if I look back now, I probably wouldn't have said it. But, I made points of Frank Lampard being out of his depth, but I never mentioned that I wanted him sacked. I don't want Frank Lampard sacked. I want Frank Lampard to succeed as much as any other Chelsea fan. And right now he's doing well, so I will praise him. But another thing that I'm going to praise, not only Frank, but the players in general, is that, some of the games we played this season, I look at the Sheffield United game at home before the international break, I look at the game on Saturday. Looking back at those two fixtures last season, we dropped points in those fixtures. We beat Sheffield United before the international break. In that result last season, we only drew that game. I look at the Newcastle game, at the weekend, we won that game. In that fixture last season, we lost. So we're seeing, we're seeing this season games that we, if it was last season, we would have, drawn or lost or dropped points. We're now winning this season. So what it does, show, and I know I'm only picking out 2 games, there's so many more games left this season, is that we are, learning and we are, growing and developing as a squad, which is what I and every other, not only Chelsea fan, but if you're a supporter of any team and you're seeing progression, it's a really good sight. And I hope that we can continue to build on that. So, great win on Saturday, good performance, need to iron out those, mistakes in terms of, not taking our chances, because we will get punished in other games if we don't take that many chances. But, it's a step in the right direction. And it's very tough after an international break. 90% of our squad had travelled, all over the world to play for their countries, and I think had about a day and a half with each other to prepare for this game. So it's always tough, no matter what. And as I've mentioned, our record at St James's Park has always been, pretty poor. So it's great that we managed to get the win, and not only that, with a good performance as well. So it's very, very positive to see that. And now we go into our Champions League game tomorrow against Rennes, and I think if we win that game, I think we're, we've all but secured our qualification to the knockout stages. So massively important that we win that and put in a good performance as well. That's what everyone wants to see. So yeah, I will have the preview for that game out tomorrow morning. So look forward to that, guys. So anyway, that's all I have to say for this video. If you did enjoy it, please drop it a like and subscribe if you're new around here or enjoy the content. And as I just mentioned, the preview for the Rennes game will be out tomorrow, early afternoon before kickoff. Obviously, I think kickoff's at 5 to 6 tomorrow, so I'll have it out before then. But also, sorry, before I go off, I wanted to, I wanted to let you know about, I remember I did, as I mentioned before, I don't want this channel to just be purely about Chelsea and football. I remember only about a week ago I did that whole coronavirus video about lockdown and everything in Ireland. I also want to let you know that, over the next, coming weeks or even week or so, I will be doing videos, in regards to, there's a couple of topics I want to talk about. There's another one. There's another kind of COVID-related one. It won't be, it won't be similar to the one that I did. Well, somewhat similar to the one I did the other week. I'm going to talk about that. But there's also another video I wanted to make about, for those of you who are Irish and know, there's been this whole, thing about, private photos being, published online without consent, and how a lot of, Irish women and even, minors have been affected by this. And I've been, for those of you who know me personally will know that I've been very vocal about this and have, made my points very clear on my social media about this, about how it's just ridiculous and it's just sickening to see what's going on, and, how much sympathy and how much, just how much sympathy and how much, sorrow I feel for those who've been affected, and just for women in general. But I'm not going to get into it in this. I'm going to do a separate video for that. So I just want you guys to know that that's what's coming up on this channel over the next, short while. So anyway, as I said, I will see you for the Rennes preview, which will be out tomorrow morning or early afternoon. So I'll see you then, guys, and take care.